Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to change the wheel bearings in your Vision Team Comp 35 SL rear wheel. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. So here we have the wheel. Now the first thing you want to do is remove your cassette off of the free hub body, and then what you need is a couple of 5mm hex head Allen keys. Now you may need a 5mm socket on a ratchet if you haven't had the wheel apart before, because a standard Allen key hex head like that might not be enough to undo them. So what you want to do first of all is place one on the left hand side like that, and then one in the right hand side, and then what I'll do is hold this one and then undo the left hand side. So it's just anti-clockwise to undo it. So you just undo that like that, and it's threaded on there. So once you got it started, you can just thread it off by hand like that. So there's the end cap on there. So next thing you want to do is you can leave your 5mm in this side. What you need next is a 10mm hex head, and then on the side you just remove the end cap. What you do is you put the 10 inside, up inside there, inside the bearing there in the middle, in the axle. So you locate the 10mm in there like that, and then what you do is holding the 10 you undo this side. So you just hold on to that one on the other side, then undoing this side like that, which is anti-clockwise again. Now to undo this one you may need, depending on like I said, if you've had that apart before. If you haven't, then you may need a ratchet on this side like that to undo it, because it could be tight. Like I said, it's anti-clockwise, so you just undo that off of there like that, which will remove the end cap on this side. Again, it's just threaded on like that. So then you can take out your 10 on that side, and then what you do is pull off your free hub body like that. So there's the free hub body, put that to one side, then just remove the spacer there as well, put that to one side for later. And then what we do, I'll go ahead and show you how to remove the axle. Right, so as you can see there, we've got a block of wood on a hard surface. So the block of wood is to protect the wheel itself. You don't want to just put it on a hard surface, because you just scratch and damage the wheel. So you always use a block of wood. And then what you want to do is put the wheel down like that. This is the free hub side here. So you just put the wheel down, the hub itself, on the block of wood like that. And then with a soft blow hammer or a rubber mallet, never use a normal hammer on here because these are aluminium and it'll damage the end, and then you won't be able to put the end cap back on. So always use a soft blow hammer on it. We'll hit down on there, and then the bearing should start to come out the opposite side. Obviously it's got plenty of room to come on out of there to start with, so you can just put it flush on the block of wood like that to start. So as you see there, bearing comes down like that out with the axle. There's the bearing, you've got the axle there, as you can see. So once you removed the bearing off the axle there, you may have to just tap the axle, because it can be tight on this side, on the free hub side, to push it through by hand. So you might have to just tap it on through, just hold the wheel up like that, just tap it down just to get it going, and then you can pull it out like that. So there's the axle. So what we'll do is we remove the drive side bearing now. So to remove the bearing out of that side, the free hub side, just put the wheel flat down like that on the block of wood, and then to get to the bearing, you'll see it down in the bottom there. What you want to do is get yourself a 14mm deep drive socket like that, and then that will go down in there and it will rest effectively like that on the bearing, so then you can hit it on out like that. So you just rest that down in there, or you can use a short socket with an extension bar on it if you haven't got a deeper drive one like that. So give that a couple of taps there. As you can see, there's the bearing there. So what we'll do now is get your wheel, clean up inside where the bearings are going to sit, any old dirt, grease in there. Then we're ready to install a couple of new bearings. Right, so when it comes to reassembling the wheel, get yourself a couple of good quality bearings. Now I'll put the sizes of the bearings down in the description below so you can see what sizes they are, so you can purchase your own bearings. Now what we'll do is we'll put in the drive side one first, which is a larger, slightly larger bearing in this side. So first of all, what I'll do before we do that is get some grease. I'll just put round a light coat where the bearing's going to sit itself in there like that, and then also while there's no axle in there I'll do the opposite side as well. Just put a light coat on there where the axle, where the bearing's going to sit on that side. Like I said, we're doing the drive side first, so slightly larger bearing on this side. So what you want to do then is just get your bearing and then just put a bit of grease around the outside of it like that, and the face inside the wheel that you don't see, it's going to be hidden out of sight, just put some grease over the actual seal itself of the bearing, just to help keep any moisture out of it, because it will get in, and moisture is what destroys the bearings over time and the dirt. So once you've done that, just get it on your finger like that, and then we just lower it down in like that into place. So then once you've done that, then what you want to do is get a 22mm socket like that, which is the same size as the outside diameter of the bearing. Like I said, you never hit where the seal is on the bearing at all, because if you do, you'll damage it and then the bearing won't work properly. It won't spin. So if you sit that over there like that and then just hold it in place, making sure when you do this that the bearing's going in square, it's not going in at an angle or anything crooked. You got to hit it in square. So we just put that over there like that to start with, and just give it a few taps like that, make sure it's going in square. And you just carry on tapping it in like that. So it starts to go down, you just carry on and tap it round. So there's the bearing installed on this side. So just check it spins as it should, like that. So what we'll do now is we'll move on to assembling the axle and the opposite side bearing. So when it comes to putting the axle back through, what you want to do is slide it through. Obviously what you want to do before that is just put a bit of grease over the axle where the freehub's going to go, just to help it slide through to start with, like that. And then obviously this is the left hand side, so we put it down through into the bearing that you just fitted. So put it in like that and push it through like so. You can see it there. So once you've done that, then what you need for this is, because as you can see the axle sticking down, is we'll just get an additional block of wood like that and put next to it, then the axle can go down like that between the two blocks of wood, so it's just supporting it like that to put in the bearing on this side. So get your bearing again, just give it a light coat of grease around the outside, and again on the side that you don't see inside the wheel, put some grease over that, like that, and again drop it in over the axle. Just push on it, push on the bearing slightly just to make sure it's seated a little bit by hand, and then for that bearing on this side use a 20mm socket on there, like that. Just same thing again, just seat that over there, make sure you've got it on the edge of the bearing like that. And just give it a few taps just to get it started, and then you can tap it on in like you did the opposite side. Right, so there's the left hand bearing installed in there. So what we'll do now is ready to go ahead and refit the end caps and the freehub body. Right, so before we fit the freehub body back on, what you want to do is just put some grease over your axle there, like that. Just put a bit of grease on the thread on the end as well, around there where the end cap's going to go, and then with your spacer, your collar there, just put that back on like that. Just put some grease around the outside of it as well, and then just push that down to the bottom, and then with the freehub body itself, just clean that up and put some grease on the pulls, on the 3 pulls there. Make sure they got some grease on them before you put it on, don't leave that dry. So put that on like that, and then if you're having trouble, if you're turning it like that and it's not engaging, and what you want to do is get yourself a small screwdriver or 2 and just get one set of pulls there and one there, and just push down on it with this little screwdriver, smallest one you can, just push down on one and pushing in at the same time and turning it anti-clockwise to engage them if you can't get it started. So just push in on them at the same time, and then you'll get it to engage like that. So once you've got the freehub engaged again, what you want to do is get your end caps. Now before you put them on the left hand side, just put some grease on the thread in there, and also just put a smear over the face of the bearing itself like that before you put the cap on. And then with your end cap, just put a smear of grease over the end of it as well, just light coating, and then obviously just get that started a few turns like that, and then to nip it up, just get your 10mm in the freehub side down in the end, and then just get your 5mm hex and just nip it up. That's all you've got to do, just nip it up very lightly, and then we'll move on to the opposite side. So what I'll do is I'll just put some grease over the end cap like that, a bit on the thread in there for the drive side, freehub side, and then just hold the opposite side and just start that on there clockwise to do it up. So just do it up by hand like that, and then get your 5mm, just hold that side with that, and get your another 5mm and just nip that up until it stops, and then just literally nip it up. That's all you got to do. You don't want to over tighten it because you won't be able to get it undone. So that's the bearing install complete. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.